Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. And today, I want to get better at investment and business and leadership. And we want to do that by taking a look at Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway shareholder letter that just came out for 2024. As you may already know, Warren Buffett puts out an annual letter for his company, Berkshire Hathaway, every single year. He's been doing it since 1977. So we're coming up on nearly 50 letters that are put out each year. And in the letter, he talks about Berkshire Hathaway's performance and Berkshire Hathaway's strategies, but he also talks about his perspectives on investment and on economics and on business. He gives all sorts of wisdom and practical investment advice. And so many people read it. Maybe, if you're listening right now, you've read many of the annual shareholder letters in the past, but so many beyond just shareholders are reading. Investors, business enthusiasts, entrepreneurs across the world, as a matter of fact, are reading these letters because there's just timeless insights into investment and leadership and economic principles. It's just a really valuable resource for understanding sound business practices, in my opinion. And I've been reading it over for years. And each year I try to pull, a nugget or two from the letter. And this year I want to talk around my 5 key takeaways, the 5 biggest takeaways I had in reviewing the 2024 Berkshire Hathaway shareholder letter. Now, side note, you could just Google that and it will take you to the Berkshire Hathaway website, which is one of the most elementary websites you'll ever see. And you can pull every letter he's ever written. It's actually a lot of fun, believe it or not. It's worth going through and reading at least maybe the past 5 or 10 years, since you might be more familiar with what he's talking about. It's actually a really valuable exercise. But let's go to the 5 key takeaways. First, I jotted down, embrace transparency and acknowledge mistakes. Warren embraces transparency and he acknowledges mistakes. In the letter, he reflects on his investment journey. And he acknowledges that not all decisions have been successful. He emphasizes that while mistakes may fade over time, successful investments can yield enduring benefits. He finds, or he kind of talks around, that there's tremendous value in transparency. He feels that, and he does this year after year, he openly discusses his errors. I mean, he's usually known for all of the great decisions he's made, but he openly discusses the errors that he makes. And I think that this fosters a lot of trust with the public and with all of his shareholders. I think it enhances his credibility, and I think it provides valuable learning opportunities for everybody else. So he's got this degree of humility and this element of continuous learning, and leadership, and it's really impactful. So the first thing I jotted down almost as a theme was Warren's embrace of transparency and of acknowledging mistakes. And they've made, a number of mistakes over the years. Overpayment for companies that didn't pan out, overpayment in a merger, misjudged acquisition timing, initial investment errors. I mean, they've done all different sorts of things. They've also done a lot of things right, though. So I love the humility that he displays. Number 2, and it goes with something we have recently talked about on one of our podcasts about how investment, or wealth, I should say, when you study it, as much as we like to think it's built steadily over time, and it is certainly built over time, but built steadily over time, not so much. As a matter of fact, it's built more so in spurts over time. And what I took away from Warren's letter was to recognize the impact of key decisions. Like, there are a handful of very key decisions that make for the greatest amount of his success. Yes, time was a very, very valuable asset for him. But we got to recognize the impact of key decisions. For example, he talks about the Coca Cola investment that he made. It was a pivotal decision when he invested in Coca Cola. In 1988, Berkshire Hathaway put $1.3 billion into Coca Cola. They acquired a 6.2% share of the company. This particular stake in Coca Cola has grown substantially over the past few decades. The dividends alone have surpassed the $1.3 billion purchase price or acquisition amount. So the dividends surpass the initial investment on an annual basis. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how that scaled. That one key investment has made them billions of dollars. So this investment underscores the profound impact, I think, that well-considered decisions can have on long-term wealth accumulation. It really kind of highlights the importance of identifying and committing to high-quality businesses. And I think one thing he's done extremely well with Coca Cola and a lot of his investments is he looks for enduring competitive advantages. So, second takeaway, recognize the impact of key decisions. The third, no surprise here, we've talked about this around, specific to Warren quite a bit. He talks around prioritizing long-term investment. I don't think we have to say a ton there, but Warren is connected to a long-term strategy. He has a diverse array of businesses in the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio, but he's got this incredible willingness to hold all of these investments indefinitely because he sees massive benefit in long-term ownership of quality businesses. He doesn't have a desire to sell. And again, I think that just goes with the wealth strategy, that is buy and just hold and wait. Just buy quality and wait. And he's the master of that. Number 4, key takeaway. Warren's been working on his succession and future leadership for years. The key takeaway here, again, probably could have said it the year prior and the year before that and many years before that. I think it's about planning for succession and future leadership. I think so many of us don't think about succession and future leadership. We're short-sighted. We're only thinking about the next month or the next year. Warren's been thinking about for years who's going to one day take over Berkshire Hathaway. Greg Abel, who is going to one day take over as CEO, he joined Warren in 1999. 1999. Warren knew 25 years ago that this was his successor. Fortunately, Warren's lived, he's 94 years old now. He's lived quite a long time. But he's always kind of tagged Greg as the guy to take over, and he found him in 1999. He's very committed to Greg Abel. He's got confidence in his deep understanding of Berkshire's culture and he's proven himself as a manager. Warren primarily, though, I think the focus here is in working with Greg Abel for as long as he has, he really ensures that the company's core principles and operational philosophy continue when he's eventually gone. And then the number 5 takeaway, the final takeaway from the 2024 Berkshire Hathaway shareholder letter. I think Warren says this from time to time, but he was pretty vocal this year. Warren's an advocate for fair tax practices. Now, this is not a political statement. I'm just analyzing what's in the letter. But Warren has long advocated for equitable taxation. I think he's expressed concerns many times about wealthy individuals and corporations paying lower tax rates than the average guy or girl. And he believes in a fair tax system. Again, that's not a political statement. It was just a takeaway that one of the world's greatest investors, if not the greatest investor the world's ever seen, is an advocate for a specific approach. I think we should all maybe listen to what he has to say. Now, this contrasts quite a bit with other billionaires. Many of his peers lobby for tax advantages, where Buffett emphasizes the responsibility of the wealthy to contribute their fair share. So he's just got this, and I think my takeaway here is Warren has a broader commitment to what he deems to be ethical business practices and what he deems to believe to be social responsibility. So my takeaway is more around the ethics of business practice and social responsibility as I gauge it. We should be an advocate for that sort of thing in business. So my 5 key takeaways, do with it as you'd like. I want to challenge you, though, to read the letter yourself and see what your takeaways are. I also want to challenge you to look at the financials of the company and see what you might learn. What do you understand? What don't you understand? What do you have to learn? When you look at Berkshire Hathaway's cash position, how do you feel about that? What's that tell you about what's to come? There's a lot of things that we can study and learn and make ourselves better with respect to how we operate in business and how we invest and grow our wealth. That's all I have for you today. The No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's get after it.